Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Right Side with Doug Billings. Today, wow, chaos in the Communist Socialist, formerly known as Democrat Party. They are absolutely a wreck over there. No matter what they're saying publicly, their PR machine cannot spin enough lies and mechanisms of misinformation to fool us. They are in utter breakdown chaos over there. Trump, meanwhile, has ascended to icon status among all political figures in this republic's history, and Biden, the victim of a coup within his own party. Kamala Harris, a loser who can't win. Evidence of the obvious is sufficient. She's been there, done that. No one will get the liberal nomination for president without one man's approval. All of this and a little bit more today on the program. Ladies and gentlemen, the Right Side with Doug Billings is now upon you. Are you ready? Let's go.
Hey everybody, my name is General Mike Flynn, and I'm here to do a big shout out for my great friend and one of the best in the business, Mr. Doug Billings. Right Side with Doug Billings, Right Side with Doug Billings. Doug is the future of the airwaves when it comes to independent broadcasters and podcasters. He is the new Rush Limbaugh. He's exactly what America needs right now, looking for honesty, looking for wisdom, looking for truth, looking for patriotism. Listen to Doug Billings at Right Side with Doug Billings. God bless you and God bless America, and thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are winning. We're winning, winning, winning. Welcome to the Right Side with Doug Billings. Are you ready?
We are not liberal snowflakes who melt away in the face of tragedy, adversity, and challenge. We are a covenant nation under God, and his divine providence is not dead and it's not gone. It is living within each and every one of you. And you will bring it to life in such a way that the world has never seen before. We never back down. We never give up. We march forward.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's raining chaos over at the Communist Socialist, formerly known as the Democrat Party. Absolute chaos over there. No matter what their PR machine, no matter what the talking heads on social media, the legacy media, wherever you see the liberals, wherever they're spinning whatever kind of story they want to about Kamala, about the status of their party and so forth, they are in shambles. They're in chaos. They're in panic mode. It's DEFCON 1 over there. They don't know what's next. They have no solution. They're trying to make it appear as if they have one, but trust me, there is no finalized solution over there on the left. And one of the biggest things I think going on today is everybody's asking, where's Biden? We haven't seen him in 5 or 6 days. What's going on? So a lot of speculation. Some of it was good. Some of it was clickbait. But some of it was just good, normal, asking the question, where is he? He's alive. We've got a statement from his doctor just a few hours ago from Kevin O'Connor. I want to put that up right here as we begin today. So from the White House physician, Dr. Kevin O'Connor, he said, if we don't have the statement, I'll just tell you that he said Biden's alive. He's being treated for COVID, and that he is expected to make appearances later in the week. All right. So apparently that's from, it is from Kevin O'Connor, the physician to Administrator Biden. So, ladies and gentlemen, look, some stories are too big to fake. If Biden were dead, we would all know it. And we would hear about it. Oh, but Doug, they're not going to tell us that. The radical left, they're not honest. Some stories are too big not to be known. So we will see what happens with that. Besides all of that, whether or not, what Biden's status might be, I can tell you this. The 100% confirmed status of the Communist Socialist, formerly known as Democrat Party, is that they are in chaos. Absolute chaos. When I look back over these last few weeks, my friends, you talk about a whirlwind of events, mostly good for the conservative side and miracles throughout. I look back, I'm serious. Just a couple of weeks ago, I thought President Trump was going to be in jail by now. I thought there's no way that the radical left, given their abject hatred of the man, would let go of the 34, although they were bogus and are temporary, convictions that came out of New York. They were not going to let them go, and they would pursue those to the fullest extent that they could, and that meant putting Trump in jail, at least if only for a while. So I thought we were there just a couple of weeks ago, but what a difference 16 days can make. Wow. We have the lawfare that's being waged against President Trump fading away. All of the charges against him will be overturned and thrown out. You can count on that. Everything that he has faced, whether he's been charged with it or whether he's been convicted of it, all of it will be overturned and thrown out. So for all of the liberals out there, it's time to start referring to President Trump in different ways. You've had your 15 minutes of glory and gloating over the fake, false, and temporary convictions, okay? You've had your field day with all of that. But now it's time to refer to President Trump as the falsely accused and vindicated former president. All right, you think that's something that's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen? Of course not, but I'm saying it out loud. That's what's happened. That's what he is. The radical left is wrong. They have nothing to throw out of any substance with regards to their supposed new candidate. I'll get to that in a minute. So item number one, lawfare fading away. Miracle number one, if you will. That is huge. It's huge. All of it. This includes, and we can talk about the Supreme Court rulings, the immunity case and all that, which doesn't mean at all what the radical left has been putting forward about that. We all know that what the immunity charge doesn't mean that this is a kingship. This isn't a monarchy. Presidents can be held accountable. There's the impeachment process, but they have to be held accountable with legitimacy. They can't be held accountable with kangaroo courts. So this is, of course, why the radical liberal mob gets upset, is because they can't depend on truth to persecute and prosecute President Trump. They have to depend on kookery and kangaroo courts and lies and misinformation. That's the only way that they can get him. So, of course, their heads explode. We shouldn't expect anything less. So miracle number one, lawfare, charges, all temporary. They're fading away so long, especially with the fading away of Administrator Biden. All of that dies. All right, number two, miracle number two, the assassination attempt of President Trump and the resulting iconic, absolutely iconic images that resulted and that have now become a part of the American identity and catapulted Trump into iconic and legendary status. That photo of him after the assassination with the fist in the air, the American flag in the backdrop, is the most famous photograph of any American president, bar none. And that's happened only in a few weeks. This is all turning to Trump. The divine providence of God waking up in such a way as we have never seen before. The radical liberals will never call it that because, of course, they don't believe in God. But this is what we see. Also, with regards to the status of President Trump, even Mark Zuckerberg, the radical liberal member of that hierarchical group of kooks, came out today, not today, but a couple of days ago, deeply moved, Zuckerberg was, deeply moved in this interview that I'm going to show you a clip of here in just a moment, when he saw President Trump's reaction during the assassination attempt, calling President Trump a badass, the most important thing he's ever seen, emotional, it's impossible not to get emotional when you see Trump with his fist raised, the American flag, after being shot in the face. Zuckerberg's words, not mine. In fact, I'm going to show you the clip. Reagan, let's see if we can roll clip number one.
Now, look, I mean, there's obviously a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world. I mean, the historic events over the weekend. And, I mean, on a personal note, it's, seeing Donald Trump get up after getting shot in the face and pump his fist in the air with the American flag is one of the most badass things I've ever seen in my life. But look, I mean, it's, and I think, look, it's, at some level as an American, it's like hard to not get kind of emotional about that spirit.
That's just it, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Zuckerberg, no doubt, a raging liberal, and he's on nobody's best friend list over here in the conservative movement. But he is going to vote for Trump this term. It is happening across the board. Millions of people, obviously, who are not anywhere near, who have nowhere near the notoriety of Mark Zuckerberg. I'm talking about John and Jane Doe on the streets of Main Street America, who may have voted for Biden back in 2020. They're not doing it anymore. They're not going to vote for anybody associated with the Communist Socialist, formerly known as Democrat Party. They can see what that party's record, what that party's politics, policies, and platform have brought them. And they are not up for any more of it. It's not what they signed up for. It's not what anybody signed up for. The level of chaos and destruction to the very fabric of America is unprecedented. The people of America will not put up with it. Mark Zuckerberg, famous liberal, not voting for anyone but Trump. And you can count on the fact that many liberals were touched just as Zuckerberg was. We were all blown away by the response, the action, the strength of the man during that assassination attempt. Miracle number 2, I put it to you. That was it. Miracle number 3, the chaos that is engulfing this communist-socialist formerly known as Democrat Party, which includes the chaos that was caused by the abject coup that was planned and carried out against Administrator Biden by members of his own party and members of his own party's hierarchy, nonetheless. It resulted in this apparent, now it is apparent, it's not concluded, it's not decided yet, but apparently we've got this ascendancy of Kamala Harris to be the nominee for the president of that party. But this is not a done deal yet. The list of high-level, liberal, hierarchical members who are endorsing Kamala, I grant you, seems to be increasing by the hour. With one exception, one person who's not on that list, Barack Hussein Obama. But miracle number 3, the chaos in the Democrat Party. All of these trends turning towards the right side, turning towards the conservative movement in favor of the MAGA movement. All right. And then number 4, the health of Administrator Biden. All right. I don't call this a miracle because I want to see him sick. I don't want to see him die. I don't wish him any ill will. I do not think this man is a good person. I do not think what he has done to America is good, beneficial, or otherwise to the people of this republic or to the republic itself. But I do not wish him ill will. I do not wish him death. I wish him no harm. But these miracles, because of his health, because of this dementia, is what I'm talking. When I mention health, I'm not talking about the COVID. He's facing COVID, but I'm talking about his dementia, which has been obvious since 2020. And people like Jill Biden and the hierarchy within that party knew it then, just as in 2020, just as much as they know it now. So shame on all of them for putting Joe up. He hasn't been in public for several days. He hasn't made any public appearances. He didn't make any public appearances regarding his historical announcement that he's backing out, pulling out, dropping out of the presidential race. That's historic. It's monumental. And he didn't do it in person. He sends a memo to the people announcing that he's stepping down. And the memo wasn't written on presidential letterhead. Now, look, I am not a clickbait guy and I'm not a conspiracy guy. It's no big deal that the letter wasn't written on White House stationery. But what's interesting is that it didn't seem to have his signature. The signature seemed to be forged. I don't have any proof of that. Nobody really knows. It just is interesting and worth noting. But why he's probably too sick with COVID. Okay. He's old. He's frail. But we do need answers. That's a question the American people deserve to have an answer. So it appears as if we got one, as I said at the beginning of the show. White House physician Kevin O'Connor put a statement forward today listing Biden's treatment, what he was going through, and that he expects the treatment to continue. So there's that. So here we are at this stage of the game, my friends. President Trump's lead over the entire liberal movement in this country is insurmountable at this point. Now, this does not mean that the right side becomes complacent. It doesn't mean that we take it easy and that we stop the full court press here. We have to go forward with our determined patriotism to get involved in what is coming up in November. That is the election. So the MAGA movement is one of the most consequential and substantive political movements in the history of this republic. And it is going full force and full steam ahead, growing stronger by the day, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to talk much more about this in some detail about where Trump is in the moment with the polls, what people are really thinking and saying about Biden, and what to come next in the state of play in America. Before I do, reminding you to prayerfully consider heading over to dougbillings.us, my website. Please head over there and click on that donate button and prayerfully consider offering a monthly recurring donation so that I can continue to bring you this show. It's over there, dougbillings.us, real simple to find. I ask you to consider it. The show's always free, but what is the truth worth you? I'll be right back after this break. Cheers.
Doug Billings, reminding you that conservatives are better looking than liberals. The Right Side with Doug Billings, coming to you from the fruited plains of America.
All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. The fruited plain, smack dab in the middle of it over here in the great American Midwest. And to you, wherever you are, thank you very much. Thanks again for the emails that we get almost daily, several of them from all over this republic, but also from Europe as well, and parts of South America this week. So thank you very much. I appreciate you. So President Trump occupies, as we look over the last few weeks and these miracles, as I call them, about what has happened in the political landscape within this country, President Trump, like him or not, ladies and gentlemen, like him or not, he occupies a position within American politics that has been reserved for only the most historical of all presidents. And even more than that is this reputation of his extends beyond our own boundaries. It is worldwide. It's global. It's iconic. It's historic. And President Trump has a record of achievements that he can look back on, that we can look back on. Achievements that have had significant positive effects on the lives of all Americans, on our borders, our economy, our military, our energy independence, foreign policy. We could go on and on and on. These achievements of President Trump's are no little matter. They're a big deal. Kamala Harris, on the other hand, has none of that, not even close. She's turned the vice presidency into a work-from-home vacant office. It's a do-nothing office thanks to Kamala Harris. The border czar, are you kidding me? She hasn't shown up to the border in any meaningful fashion, not once. She had a couple of photo ops a few hundred miles away from the border, down in Texas or Arizona, but nothing of any substance, nothing at all. It's a job that she has absolutely squandered. So the situation of chaos within that liberal coalition of immorality that I call the Communist Socialist Party is at DEFCON 1. They are in full frontal panic mode. And of course they're going to tell everybody that it's fine. They're going to use their liberal talking heads on social media, in the legacy media, those people that are in the celebrity class, the elected class. Everybody's fine with Kamala. She's exactly who we need. She's exactly who we want, everybody. It's fine. It's all great. She's the one. Because Administrator Biden endorses her? What? Is that why? So she's the sitting vice pretender. No record whatsoever to speak of with regards to delivering anything that's beneficial to America, to our allies, to anybody. The liberal talking heads, they've got to come up with something. They've got to come up with a unified, enthusiastic front all about Kamala, because there's no other choice. It's either that or they succumb to the chaos that's surrounding them. And you can better believe that over this past weekend, you can better believe it, there were thousands of conference calls, Zoom calls, Skype calls, getting together in back rooms with cigars, scotch, and whatever. And they were talking about what are our talking points going to be about this mess. Biden, we're forcing him to step out. We've conducted a coup against him. We've got him taken care of. But what are we going to do? What are we going to say? How are we going to position this? This was on every conference call that was held over the weekend, and there were many of them. They are the kinds of calls that happen they're ordinary. They're not extraordinary. They get together like this once a week and they talk about talking points. What are we going to have the media say? What are we going to have our elected officials say? What are we going to have the people on social media platforms like X and Facebook and so forth? What are we going to have them say? So they talk about it, they scheme about it, they get all of their partners involved, legacy media, fake news. Let's get some celebrities from the entertainment class over here. Let's get people on social media platforms. Let's talk about this. What are we going to say? And they discuss the news cycle of either each day or each week. And the news cycle can fluctuate in its lifespan. Maybe a day, maybe 2 days, sometimes a week, maybe longer. But they begin then to draft their talking points. This is what they do. And they deliver them in unison. And they are rehearsed, and they are given to us throughout that upcoming week. Okay, so if we take a cursory glance at social media platforms today, we can surmise that the only talking points that the radical left really have to put forth are two things only. One, enthusiasm for Kamala. We've got to come across as if she's our gal. She's the one. Thank goodness this happened. You know, we really wanted her from the beginning. Now, you can tell a mile away. Anyone with any shred of intellectual maturity can tell that that is not genuine. Their enthusiasm is fake enthusiasm. They know there is nothing to be enthusiastic about with regards to Kamala Harris. She has done nothing. We're going to get to more of her record in a moment, but believe me, and again, evidence of the obvious is sufficient. You don't need me, just look. She's done nothing. Number two, the second point that the radical liberal talking heads are putting forth today, aside from being enthusiastic about Kamala, point number one. Point number two is the age of President Trump. Okay, so it's a non-factor. Never mind, it's a non-factor to the vast majority of Americans. Nobody cares how old President Trump is, especially since he's now risen to the level of iconic and legendary presidential status. Noticeably absent from these posts that you're seeing on social media, absent from the liberals' talking points on television legacy media, is that there is nothing that has anything to do with the policy, platform, or politics of Kamala Harris or the Communist Socialist, formerly known as Democrat Party in general. They're not talking about the achievements of their party, the achievements of their policies and their platform, because there are none. All we see is purposeful chaos and the destruction of the American Republic, our economy, and so forth. Not only does the Communist Socialist, formerly known as Democrat Party, have no legs to stand on with regards to their policies, with regards to their platforms and their policies and their politics, not even that, beyond that, Kamala Harris has even less credibility than the overcharging liberal party that she represents. The liberal party has no credibility at all in America. Kamala Harris has less than that. Remember, during the presidential debates in 2020, Kamala Harris didn't win once. And in fact, in all of the debates that were held, she lost within the first 10 minutes of each of them. She won no delegate votes, no support whatsoever. She came into that election cycle as the most unliked and unfavorable liberal Democrat in all of the Senate. And yet here she is, and the radical left is pretending as if she's their golden child. Are you kidding me? I've got a clip for you. Take a look. This is a short clip from the beginning of the first presidential debate that was held back in 2020. And look how Tulsi Gabbard absolutely destroys not only Kamala's record of her past by pointing it out, but she absolutely renders Kamala speechless in the devastation of the truth that was leveled against Kamala Harris in this clip. Reagan, clip number 2, please.
I want to bring the conversation back to the broken criminal justice system that is disproportionately negatively impacting black and brown people all across this country today. Now, Senator Harris says she's proud of her record as a prosecutor and that she'll be a prosecutor president, but I'm deeply concerned about this record. There are too many examples to cite, but she put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana. She blocked evidence. She blocked evidence that would have freed an innocent man from death row until the courts forced her to do so. She kept people in prison beyond their sentences to use them as cheap labor for the state of California. And she fought to keep cash bail system in place that impacts poor people in the worst kind of way.
Thank you.
Absolutely no record of any substance, no record of any benefit to the American people, nothing. She's not worth the mention, yet here she is, chosen because of her ethnic background. Let's be honest. Now, this is also interesting. I'm going to go off script just for a minute because these are my own observations. Why? So, first of all, Kamala Harris is not black. Not all black, right? Why are they claiming her as black? Why can't we claim her as part brown or part Asian or part white or whatever? Why does she have to be part? They paint themselves into these corners, these DEI corners. Biden went out of his way in 2020 to say, I am going to choose a black woman as my vice president. By the way, you can't do that in corporate America. You can't do that in real life. It's against the law to say that you're going to hire somebody specifically because of their race or their gender. You hire the best qualified person. Kamala clearly is not. But now she's in that role, and the radical left is now painted into a corner, the DEI corner. They can't get rid of her, not at least without giving some sort of a sweetheart deal to her. So we have all of this circling around, this chaos. I'm not even halfway finished with what I want to talk about, but I do want to invite you to be part of the conversation. Feel free to give me a call. I'm going to open up the phone lines at 901-316-8404, 901-316-8404. Ladies and gentlemen, call in, get in line. Phone lines are open. And in the meantime, enjoy this trip that you're about to take into the wonderful and God-inspired land of capitalism. I'll be right back after this. Stay with me. Cheers.
The Right Side with Doug Billings.
Ladies and gentlemen, what if I told you that you could change the trajectory of your aging process? Look and feel better, live younger, be more active, less pain when you move around, sleep better, diminish the lines and the wrinkles on your face? Really? This is what I'm telling you. It's possible. You see, low stem cell activity happens when we get older, and it could be causing many of the health problems that some people have in the world today. Because as we get older, we have less stem cell activity, which means we age faster and we heal slower. The secret is a clinically proven and patented phototherapy non-transdermal patch, whose technology is the result of over 90 clinical studies and over 20 years of research. Your healthier life can begin today, and you can discover true age reversal. Age reversal, ladies and gentlemen. Please go to liveyoungerwithdoug.us. liveyoungerwithdoug.us, ladies and gentlemen. Get over there today. Or if you'd like, text my name, Doug, to 41372. Doug, text it 41372, and get over to liveyoungerwithdoug.us. Get younger, feel younger. I'm doing it. I'm wearing this patch. I feel great, and so will you. God bless you, ladies and gentlemen. For the Republic. Cheers.
The Right Side with Doug Billings. Doug Billings, the shining light of truth and American exceptionalism.
The Right Side with Doug Billings. Thanks very much indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, truly, it's an honor of a lifetime to have you out there with me on the right side. You are everything that means so much to me. We are in this together. We walk shoulder to shoulder, trying, all of us, to restore the American Republic back to the divine providence of God and the intent of the Founding Fathers. So in all seriousness, thank you for being out there for me. You know, the woke social media platforms that are out there try to cancel us so often. Every turn we take, we're at their mercy in a lot of ways because we bring the truth and we bring unfettered access to the truth, and they know that. That's the last thing they want. We have been trying to sustain the program over at DougBillings.us. So as I usually do once or twice a show, I ask you to prayerfully consider heading over there to my website, DougBillings.us, and letting you know, as always, we give the program to you. We give this show for free. We don't charge you for the truth. So prayerfully consider what the truth is worth to you. And head over to DougBillings.us and click on the donate tab to set up, if you don't mind, a recurring monthly donation, 5, 10, 20, 100, whatever you can afford, and help me continue to make a living and bring you the program, DougBillings.us. Okay, so Kamala, the chaos of the radical left. What's going to happen next? Where they are, the united false front of hope, as they're putting it all forth upon us, acting as if Kamala has been always the one they've wanted. There's never been anybody else. Never mind that back in 2020, nobody really did want her, but Biden made the promise, I'm going to hire a black woman to do the job of the vice presidency, and she's not black. So let's just keep on talking about that. Kamala's record. What record? It's abysmal. The radical left hierarchy knows this. She has nothing of any substance to stand on that's positive, beneficial, or otherwise builds up what America is meant to be. And just because we're seeing from the media, every one of them, because they control the narrative, what this seems to be, this avalanche of support from Kamala, just because they're putting that forward doesn't mean that it's necessarily the truth, because at the end of the day, that does not mean that she's going to end up being the nominee of this commie socialist, formerly known as Democrat Party, even though all of these people supposedly are supporting her. So as I said earlier in the show, over this past weekend, hundreds, if not thousands, of conference calls, Skype calls, Zoom calls, meetings amongst members of the liberal hierarchy, right? That liberal coalition of immorality, all getting together, talking about what are we going to say? How are we going to spin this? We've got to be able to say something, because there's nothing of any substance, of a positive substance, that can come or be gleaned from the record of Kamala Harris. Therefore, all we see are a conglomeration of intellectually immature, snarky comments about the age of President Trump. And remember, it's us, we conservatives, who are making an issue about policy, about platform, and about policy. We have never made any issue with age, even with Biden. Now, we made a big deal about his dementia. we made a big deal about his inability to lead, to run the office of the presidency, not to mention his inability to run the country. Whatever we were making issues of was legitimate. And again, primarily his dementia. I don't remember any conservative pundit out there saying that he was too old by virtue of his physical age, but that he was too old by virtue of his dementia. Joe Biden has no cognitive ability or capability to be president of the United States, and he doesn't have cognitive mental capability to do much of anything anymore. Now, this leaves us in a conundrum because the 25th Amendment comes into play. People begin to talk about this. He should resign the presidency. And here's where I come down on that. I shudder when I think of that because I can't bear the thought of Kamala Harris being the first woman to occupy and be given the keys to the White House. That is a frightening, disturbing, sickening thought to me. So I think to myself, Administrator Biden hasn't been running this country since 2020. Other people have, Susan Rice, Barack Obama, and a smattering of others. So why not just let the guy finish his term so that the radical left liberal coalition of immorality does not get the historical notation of having the first woman occupant of the White House? I can't even call her president, like I don't call Biden. I call him Administrator Biden. He did not earn the White House. He was given the White House. She has not earned the vice presidency. Therefore, she is the vice pretender. I can't bear that thought. So I'm all in favor of just let him finish his term. As long as he's got a pulse. The other people who've been running the country, look, what do we got? 4.5 months? I know there's pros and cons to that. Geez, I just can't imagine having Kamala, and that's the only way, by the way, she would get it, is if Biden resigns the presidency. She will not be elected to that office. I guarantee you that. Bookmark this program and let's talk on November 6th or 7th. But the American people, you, ladies and gentlemen, you're the most important thing going in this republic. By far, goes without saying. I know that you are not stupid. I know that you see right through all of this radical liberal messaging and nonsense that's happening. I know that you see, sense, and feel the chaos that is coming from that party. I know that you can see the truth, and that is that Kamala Harris can offer nothing to America. She can offer nothing to America's people. She can offer nothing to America's destiny. Not a thing. Evidence of the obvious is sufficient. The radical left hierarchy, the members of the media, the members of the celebrity class, they can all think and say whatever they will, but here's the one thing they all know to be true. They believe it, and they continually demonstrate it. The radical left commune socialist, formerly known as Democrat Party, and all of the people within their hierarchy believe that you, my friends, are stupid. They think that repeating lies makes them true. They think if they repeat the same nonsense, people out there in the audience will start to believe them as truth. They think that they can separate the love, the genuine love of this republic and the people within it that they have for President Trump. They think that they can separate you from those feelings. In fact, Mark Zuckerberg spoke to it, those incredible feelings of patriotism that people have towards President Trump. The radical left thinks they can separate those from you. And what the radical left fails continuously throughout history to understand is that the rebranding of the American people, the rebranding of this republic throughout our history is based upon the will of the people. You people, are the one that guide and steer this republic into whatever direction it goes. Ultimately, you have more control than the radical left does, and they know this. Now, they may cheat, they may commit crime. Both sides throughout our history have failed their oaths of office and so forth. But in general, the radical left tries to steer the country away from the divine providence of God and the intent of the founding fathers. At least the Republican Party, and they're not perfect, at least, however, at least they try to adhere and believe in the divine providence of God and to the intent of the founding fathers and what they put forth in our founding documents. The radical left believes in fundamentally transforming America away from all of that. They've said it out loud. It's no secret anymore. And what the radical left fails to understand is that this rebranding at the hands of President Trump of the American movement, the MAGA movement, is one of the most widely supported movements in all of American history. The Make America Great Again movement is bringing on board every day thousands upon thousands of new members. Again, people who may well have voted for Administrator Biden in 2020 are now on the right side, and the numbers keep on growing every day. The radical left sees this. They know it. And we know that Americans in vast numbers understand the lies and the mixtures of lies with truth, all designed to mislead the American people. The American people can see it when it comes from the radical left, and they're not fooled. That's part of the reason why the radical left, communist socialist, formerly known as Democrat Party, as I call them, is obviously possessed by these demons of lies and misinformation, because the radical liberal movement in America is fading away. It's being squelched by the redawning and the rebirth of the divine providence of God and the original intent of the founding fathers. They're in their death pangs, and so they will say and do everything. But this has really been part of their history, to mix lies with the truth, or to lie outright about the status of America, the status of their policies, platforms, and politics. Look at what's happened over the past few months. And as I opened the show, I commented, I really thought Trump was going to be in jail by this time. We go back in time a couple of months ago. That's what I was thinking. It appeared as if the radical left coalition of immorality had convinced the kangaroo court system to punish Trump based on bogus and illegitimate illegal charges, and that he was going to do, at least for a while, some jail time. But then here comes the divine providence of God to the rescue, guiding the country back with a very drastic example of active miracles in the American political scene, things that we have not seen in a long time. But look, for all of you who thought and wanted to see miracles, just look. Look at where we are. Nothing short of miraculous. Miracles abound. And I've said this, and I'm almost up against a break, but I want to get this out before I say it's time for a break. We have packs of blessings upon our backs, ladies and gentlemen. And oftentimes when we're surrounded by nightmare, chaos, tragedy, adversity, and challenge, it's when these blessings are born into us. And sometimes it takes time, I grant you, to recognize them. But sometimes these blessings happen fast and they're obvious. And we have seen such things happen just over the last couple of weeks. I'm going to cover the miracles when we come back. Ladies and gentlemen, stay with me. Cheers. I want to tell you about the good people over at EMP Shield, electromagnetic pulse, ladies and gentlemen. It can fry your home electrical system or your vehicle's electrical system. But if you attach one of these, now this is for your breaker box at home. There's a smaller version that goes on your battery of your car, your vehicle, that will prevent it from being fried in the event of an electromagnetic pulse. Because as you know, thanks to Administrator Biden, many people coming across the border now who don't exactly have the best of intentions. Protect yourself. EMPshield.com. Get huge discounts over there if you use the promo code Doug.
Hello, I'm Brandon House. Melissa and I have been taking Bella Grace, this powerful elixir, since last fall, 2023. The results have been amazing. My hands would crack and bleed, deep cuts and cracks every winter for years. No matter what we did, we couldn't get them to stop cracking and bleeding. This year, I took Bella Grace, no cracking, no bleeding. My acid reflux, gone. Haven't had to take a Pepsid. My hair growth, the last 2 times I had my hair cut, the lady had to use thinning shears on my hair. That's amazing. We've also received incredible feedback from you, our listening audience, and the impact it's had for you. This is loaded with astaxanthin. That's a powerful antioxidant. Collagen, but top grade collagen. Studies show 95% of it is being absorbed in the body because of the way they develop it. Then we have something called cat's claw. That's an anti-inflammatory from a vine in Peru. It's the bark, and it's an anti-inflammatory. There are about 80 clinical trials on Bella Grace. Please get a subscription now and save. MelissaHouseBG.com.
Doug Billings, driving the left crazy with the truth.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The Right Side with Doug Billings, where we meet in determined prayer and determined patriotism over here. That's how we roll. The miracles that we have experienced over the last few months, probably many more than what I'm going to mention to you here, but I wanted to highlight a few things. Look, so much going our way. We don't become complacent. We don't become egotistical. We don't mention these from a place of ego. We talk about these. We look at them. We acknowledge them from a place of humility. And because we understand this republic founded by people, men who were inspired by the divine providence of God. And I believe, I've said this to you before, our founding documents, for example, our Constitution, a Declaration of Independence, Bill of Rights, all of them inspired by God, written by men. And so here we are seeing miracles happen at a quick pace. And I think a few of them are worth mentioning. You know, we talk about this lawfare that has been waged against President Trump. The kangaroo court decisions are being viewed now as illegal, illegitimate, and they are falling away, either being thrown out or being overturned. And that trend will continue. None, and I repeat, none of the cases that are facing President Trump will succeed in any form or fashion. They will have no lasting effect. They will all be either thrown out or overturned. You can take that to the bank. And so we see that. That is a miracle. All right, it is, in my book at least. Those are things that have been erased. The mob has been erased. The radical liberal mob coalition of immorality and the things that they've tried to falsely accuse and bring against President Trump are fading away. Miracle number one. Number two, the survival of an attempted assassination, right? If ever there was an example of the divine hand of God actively rescuing one of his chosen leaders, that was it. And we witnessed it. And it shouldn't be taken lightly. Wasn't President Trump's time, and God saw to that. Now, again, that's not from ego. It's not from, we're not being braggadocious. It's what I perceive to be truth. We need to be careful. We need to hold people accountable to the security of the president, and we are underway to do that. Number three, the political end of a person who never won the presidency, but who was given, nonetheless, the keys to the White House. That's Administrator Biden. Folks, he did not win the presidency. He was given the keys in a selection process. To not believe that is simply is to be partisan, wildly so, or to be vastly and helplessly intellectually immature. So he's out now. He's out. Number 4, the resulting chaos that we see happen within this coalition of immorality, this commu-socialist, formerly known as Democrat Party, miraculous in such a way that they very rarely let this happen. We very rarely get any public sense, at least, of discord or chaos within that radical liberal party. They keep that all behind closed doors most of the time. So this is a rare occurrence. Public chaos. And it's evident that what we see coming out of that party is not pro-America. It's not pro-Constitution. It's not pro-Founding Fathers. Not pro-liberty or freedom. It's pro-tyranny. It's pro-chaos. That's all they've rained down upon us these last 4 years. From the first day of the Biden administration, erasing all of the border securities that Trump had put in place, along with a dozen to 2 or 3 dozen other beneficial energy independence comes to mind right off the top of my head. All of that erased within the first day of Biden's occupancy of the White House. No one within the radical left party likes Kamala Harris. Believe me, folks. Recall back in 2020. Nobody could stand her. She didn't win one debate. She didn't win one delegate or primary vote. Not a one. Oh, but they painted themselves into this corner. I mentioned it earlier. The black woman DEI corner. They can have nothing else. They can't just get rid of Kamala. They're going to have to come up with a clever plan, and lurking there in the background, because is Barack Obama. And we'll see what happens. But they cannot afford to not have a unified front. They have to try to quell the chaos as much as they can. So you'll see all of the nonsense. Kamala's our girl. Yes, sir. Yes, we wanted her from day one. We're going to win. Oh, my God. Trump's too old. Now they talk about that. There are seemingly, and that's a key word, it seems as if there's this avalanche of support for Kamala Harris. But be careful. The radical left has to make it appear that way. They have got to make it look like they're unified, that they're enthusiastic, that they're all on board. And so you'll begin to see, letters from congressmen and senators, members of the media, etc. But again, believe me, my friends, when I tell you, Kamala is not their favorite nominee. It's not their favorite person in this race. But they have to pretend like she is in order to quell the chaos, in order to make it seem as if she's the one. So again, they can't even tell the truth among themselves. They lie to us. They lie to themselves. They try to spin themselves into the belief that she's the one. And you see people on X especially that are paid to be there. I am not paid to be on X. I am on X. Don't get a dime from being over there. So follow me on X, will you? Just give me a follow. It won't mean that I'm paid, but just follow me over there and share the things that I post, because we try to combat this liberal nonsense at every opportunity that we get. This show is the primary avenue by which I try to countermeasure all of the nonsense being put out there by the radical left. So that's why I do ask often that you go to DougBillings.us, the website, my website, and prayerfully consider a recurring monthly donation. I do ask you that because that's how I make a living, and it's how I bring you this show, which, of course, I never charge you for. I never charge you for this show. So please prayerfully consider going over to DougBillings.us. But as we look at all of the chaos, we look at all of the posturing, all of the positioning that the radical left is putting themselves through this week, all of the hoops that they're trying to jump for, there is still one person lingering out there, this dark figure of the night, ladies and gentlemen, who will probably never endorse Kamala, not unless there's some huge sweetheart of a deal that he's given, such as that he would begin to continue into his fourth term as president. And that person is no one who the radical left coalition of immorality can take for granted, because he is the one. This person is the person who has been calling the shots for the past 4 years. And for those of you who watch this program, you become members of the most intellectually mature audience in all of podcast land precisely because you do watch and listen to this program. You know who I'm talking about. It's Barack Hussein Obama. Obama will use every bit of his influence to thwart Kamala and to call for an open convention amongst this radical left communist socialist, formerly known as Democrat Party, in order so that he can get his choice of the president for the next 4 years. And for the record, let's make this clear in all seriousness, ladies and gentlemen. It will not be Michelle Obama. They will not put Michelle forth. But there will be compromises made, and Obama will be able to reach those compromises. He would be willing to do it if his choice for vice president is somebody who could give him the opportunity, Obama, the opportunity to, again, whisper into the ear of the current president so that he can have his agendas put in motion. Barack Obama is the de facto leader of the communist socialist, formerly known as Democrat Party, and he has been so for over 12 years. So no one will become their final nominee without his approval and him signing off on that. So that's where we are. That's the chaos, ladies and gentlemen, that has presented itself to the radical left communist socialist party, and it's where we need to go from here. So let me just end by saying this. We are at a key moment. We cannot let up. We cannot stop pressing forward. We have an election to win in November, and we need to stay arm in arm together, unison and with each other, watching each other, and making this thing work for President Trump. Until next time, I will see you on the next edition tomorrow. The Right Side with Doug Billings, ladies and gentlemen. God bless you. Thank you. Believe it for the Republic. Cheers.